And pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, roll call, please, Jody.
Osborne.
Here.
Bentley.
Here.
Lund.
Here.
Euler.
Here.
Kushner.
Here. Approval of city council minutes, city work session from 2/13 of 23.
Move to approve.
Osborne.
Yes.
Bentley.
Yes.
Lund.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Kushner.
Yes. And city council minutes from February 13 of 23.
Move to approve.
Osborne.
Yes.
Bentley.
Yes.
Lund.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Kushner.
Yes. Adoption of the agenda.
Move to adopt.
Osborne.
Yes.
Bentley.
Yes.
Lund.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Kushner.
Yes. 5-1. And a resolution adopting the Johnson County Local Emergency Operations Plan 2023 revision, Chief Jay.
Good evening, Mayor, and members of council. Tonight, before you use the resolution to adopt the Johnson County Local Emergency Operations Plan, we updated the first part of the year, the collaborative effort. Be happy to go through each one of the 364 pages this evening with you if you desire, but the topical version is we've contributed some things that were specific to the city that we wanted to see in the plan that we can refer to, but otherwise having one plan as the entire county, it's makes things more streamlined. We are required by our own ordinance to have an LEOP in place. So this is a good way, a collaborative effort to build that and put it in place on our side. So I'd be happy to answer any more questions.
And no, I don't want to read it. I've read it. I've written parts of it.
It was,
Pretty exciting.
No, it's not.
it had a slow moving plot.
Yes.
So we say it that way. But I do have a question. Is that synonymous with a disaster plan? Or it's a work hand in glove with a disaster plan or disaster
This
response?
more just kind of defines how we'll continue to run government and get through the initial phases and the recovery component afterwards. It
Okay.
lists out all the resources that we have access to. So, for example, early on in the pandemic, after the first few meetings, they remember we had this, and then they referred to the Annex M for the medical component, which laid out a lot of the guidance and setting up the PIO, the communication and that stuff. So that's what this is, more of a guiding document through it. And doesn't get into specific types of disasters and response.
It also opened up because it was right after I retired is when it hit. It opened up that and the opportunity to go ahead and do your own state of emergency and get things rolling so that.
So do we have a disaster response?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. That's all I need to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Motion, please, for the resolution.
Move to adopt resolution.
Osborne.
Yes.
Bentley.
Yes.
Lund.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Kushner.
Yes. Okay, Chris, looks like it's your show. 5-2, resolution approving emergency purchase for indoor pool water heater.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and members of the council. As stated in the memo, the water heaters that heat the 3 bodies of water at the community center are old and have extensive work performed on them in the past to keep them operational. A replacement of these heaters is important as they are recommended to be replaced by the manufacturer and also the installer because of their age and current condition. In addition to the wait, there's a wait time of about 2 to 6 months. So if one goes down, we would have to close that body of water at the indoor pool for that amount of time until it comes in, and therefore requesting an emergency purchase. The funding will come from the fund balance of the parks, and which is sufficiently funded for this purchase. And there will be a budget amendment that will follow this purchase if approved by the council. And staff of the Parks and Recreation Board do recommend this. I will answer any questions you may have.
Questions or motion?
Move to approve resolution for purchase of pool heaters.
Osborne,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Euler,
Yes.
Kushner.
Yes. Okay, next one is a resolution approving fitness equipment at the community center.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this purchase request to replace older fitness equipment at the community center is to be funded through the donation from the Marion H. Elizabeth Estate. That was donated several years ago to the community center specifically for the community center. That total donation at the time was $120,000. Staff has specified a specific type of equipment for this purchase, which from experience in being in other centers, the equipment is more durable, user-friendly, and made in America. Therefore, the parts and repairs are much easier to get if something breaks down. Those kinds are life fitness for the treadmill and hammer strength for the selectorized or free weights. This purchase would include the fitness equipment along with small items for further upgrades of the fitness center area, such as a seating bench, shelves for personal belongings, and a recognition plaque that is going to be to the entrance of the center for the Marion H. Blazenbrook Estate. Currently, the donated funds are held in a designated account within the park fund. So the request is to transfer the $60,000 to the community center operations for the purpose of purchasing the fitness equipment. A budget amendment would be presented at a later time for the funds transfer. And Advanced Fitness is associated with Sourcewell, and which is a state bid program for government purchasing. So there is an attachment showing this equipment, but I'll answer any questions instead of going over each one of those, but staff of the Parks and Recreation Board recommend this purchase, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions or motion?
Move to approve.
Osborne,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Euler,
Yes.
Kushner.
Yes. Next one is a resolution approving purchase of park entrance signs.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and council members. This request is for the purchase of materials and installation of new park entrance sign in each one of Warrensburg 8 parks. Currently, the existing signs are a bit old and small, and the park areas are not well identified. So it is felt by staff and the park board that adding new park signs will make each park area more identifiable, excuse me. In addition, it will create a sense of newness and pride for the frequent park users. The approach was to match our existing Parks and Recreation logo, and through very helpful input from Public Works Department, the sign design will be similar to the Wayfinder signs that are placed around the city of Warrensburg. So in order to match the existing style and materials as the Wayfinder signs, the same vendor and same vendors are recommended for this purchase in this project. You will notice in your packet a copy of the sign design, which both staff and the Parks and Recreation Board approved for your consideration. And the cost of the sign and equipment installed is not to exceed $20,000. This funding would come from the Parks and Recreation Fund existing operating budget. So it is in the budget under infrastructure and non-categorized. Another positive point is that staff at the Parks and Recreation Board are going to identify local volunteer groups to assist with the landscaping around the signs. Some of that already takes place that's going on. So it will be an easy project to, I think, fulfill. So this will be a true community involvement project. So staff of the Parks and Recreation Board recommends this, and I will answer any questions you may have.
For years, kids around town have referred to parks by color of the playground equipment, the yellow park, the green park, the orange park. Is there any connection with that for? Because I know my grandkids growing up, they all said, let's go to the green park, let's go to the yellow park or the orange park. others in the room are remembering this too. If you haven't ever figured it out, each park has different colored playground equipment.
The only thing I could think of is possibly put a colored circle at the bottom of the sign. I don't know.
Okay, no, I just wondered if that was taken in.
Yeah, no, it was just the Parks and Recreation logo and which looks good, and then the colors which are prominent with the purple and the yellow was looked at.
Okay. I was just curious. Motion?
Motion to approve resolution?
Osborne,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Euler,
Yes.
Kushner.
Yes. Next, Enrico, resolution to authorize disposal of a city-owned vehicle.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, before you is the resolution that would authorize staff to dispose of a van that has reached the end of its useful life. This van has served as a hand-me-down from Public Works to IT. And
So we're out
so,
before then.
this would allow us to auction off the van at no cost to the city. And with that, Gary Swanson will stand for any questions.
Yeah, that was a piece of junk when it got moved out. Okay. Questions, motion, please.
Move to approve resolution.
Osborne,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Euler,
Yes.
Kushner.
Yes. You can buy it now, Gary, and have it at home. Okay, we're scooting right along. Mayoral appointments this is just paperwork to complete the change in the Diversity and Inclusion Commission from Mr. Bentley to Mr. Osborne.
Move to approve.
Okay. Osborne,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Euler,
Yes.
Kushner.
Yes. Appearances not listed. Thank you. Miscellaneous matters from the mayor and or council. I can tell you this, that when you go to Jefferson City and you go with somebody that who seems to be more energetic about walking up and down all the stairs in the Capitol and walking back from the Capitol to the hotel.
And I'll have you know, it wasn't me.
I also did not bring my Jefferson City shoes to keep up with Councilmember Eubank.
I was hungry. Maybe that was.
Maybe that was it. We did have a good session with two of our elected officials in Jefferson City and expressed our disdain for a couple of bills that are out there, and we'll continue to do so. It was a good conference, though. And no, we didn't go to Central Dairy. We tried to go on the way home, but they were packed. Anything else from other council?
We didn't get much information out of MoDOT.
Oh, yeah. We were able to attend MoDOT's discussion about important things. Okay, city manager report and director.
It was a little bit of a relief to know that we are not the only ones who have challenges. So,
Yeah, it was challenging.
Just a couple of things for the city manager's update this week. You have before you a letter or an email that I sent to Senators Bratton, Hoskins, and Representative Hawks, just talking about some of those revenue reducing bills that we have. Some of the rhetoric right now in Jefferson City is talking about record levels of revenue for municipalities, and just wanted to actually get some numbers and data in front of them that we are actually not experiencing record levels of revenue. And if anything, we are experiencing record levels of costs and expenditures as far as personnel, equipment replacement, and even our capital improvements. So just a few talking points to hopefully help provide them some additional information as they make their decisions over the next couple of weeks or so.
Can I say something here? I appreciate you talking when we were with Senator Britton to bring that up to him. To say that we've got record inflation going on with these costs, and these record revenues they talk about aren't real.
And so as part of that conversation and in our last meeting, we wanted to talk a little bit about the ARPA fund update as well. So the American Rescue Plan Act funding that we received $4.2 million. And we have obligated 2.56 million of that. A quick rundown of what we've spent that money on. We paid back furlough. So in 2020, we furloughed several city employees in an effort to try to stabilize what we thought may be a crash in our revenues in 2020 due to COVID-19. Our solid waste study. The legislative advocacy that we are contracting with right now, police and fire computer equipment, wastewater infrastructure, public safety radio upgrades. And then, of course, there's a little bank fee there for the money and administration of those accounts. But just wanted to remind council that that is how we have expended those funds. We are continuing to make sure that we are using those monies for one-time expenses and making sure that these are going to be upgrades in equipment and infrastructure that we will be able to point to for several years, as this is one-time money. This is not ongoing revenue that we can use for salaries or that we can use for services or programs. So wanting to make sure that we are investing it in our community wisely, and just wanted to do a quick update on that. We have $1.6 million remaining, and we are currently looking at other projects that we might be able to use those funds for. Possibly looking at maybe some private-public partnerships for development or other infrastructure projects with stormwater. So anyways, we will be sure to come back with a recommendation on that. Rest assured, we will find a good place to spend it.
And to top off on that spendings, the Cooper Street extension, that is attached to the TDD, correct?
That is correct. So the Cooper Street, Cooper Boulevard extension that we, have we let that project yet? We have not let it yet, but it will be fully funded with the revenues that are generated from the Transportation Development District. So that's that Hawthorne area district.
Okay, thank you.
And we are anticipating that that additional sales tax will roll off no later than 2025, but it may expire even sooner than that if those revenues come in strong. So
Cool.
I will turn it over to any other department directors who have any updates for council.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I do want to provide you all an update on the Hawthorne Park Boulevard project. February 20th, the contractor who is the installer for Game Time and Care of Cunningham Recreation. They are the contractor is Sports Service Specialties. As we know that February 20th was a holiday, with the park being out of commission for as long as it has, in addition to having to declare the project an emergency in order to get someone to actually perform the work. I did waive the requirement that they could not work on a holiday. In addition to, I offered myself to perform the inspection of the park. Unfortunately, the installer, Sports Surface Specialties, did notify me that the park is not within current playground inspection compliance. So some of the things that the contractor had listed off, the swing, if we were to go from the midpoint of the saddle out to where the curb is, it's supposed to be at a minimum of 16 feet from one structure to another, at least for the portion of the swing. The distance from the midpoint of our saddle out to the curb is 14 feet, 8 inches. There are other problems as well from the slide, from the height of the slide to where our proposed surface was going to be. There is a minimum distance that needs to be from where a child leaves the slide to where they touch the surface. So there are several cleanup items that we need to make. But really the big one was that the surface that Public Works had put down was not adequate for the install. Unfortunately, we were misled by the contractor Game Time in care of Cunningham Recreation. In part because there were several times where they had told us that 1-inch clean rock was a suitable base. But in talking with the installer, it should have been more of a, what they described as a crush and run, or like a really fine compacted aggregate. So the aggregate base that we have, the material would just basically seep down into the rock, just withering away the thickness that it should be. So all of this is fixable, but so later on that day, Dave McCannon and I took several measurements, and we have a game plan. We'll have to move the swing in order to get our clearances and just a couple other touch-up items. So with that, I will stand for any questions.
Enrico, it has happened obviously before you were here, or Chris, but is that something we should go look at the other parks now and inspect them to see if we're in compliance, or?
So one of the things that I had identified kind of during the turmoil of this is that we need to have someone that is trained and certified in playground inspections. Because this could have been caught early on. Although the contractor should have told us. But once we have someone that we've selected to go through the training, the second part would be to then audit some of our parks so we can get a good understanding of everything else that needs to be done. Especially as we're gearing up for more parks projects that are in pursuit. It would be better to look at these sooner rather than later. So one thing that I did forget to mention is that we had, as part of the Hawthorne Park project, we had to submit a site readiness form where we were asked some detailed questions. In addition to, we had to provide pictures of the park's current condition. And even then, the contractor Game Time did not notify us that, hey, you should look at this, or that base is wrong. As a matter of fact, it was Game Time that notified us that the installer, Sports Surface Specialties, was going to be there February 20th. So by the time the contractor got there, they came all the way from Memphis to do the job. And so then they had to leave that same day. So then they were out of money for the day. So how they described it. But yes, to answer your question, Bruce, we'll definitely evaluate all of our parks.
Is
Do we
Game
have-
Time, go
Excuse
ahead.
me, no, go ahead.
Is Game Time, we're having issues with them, or is it?
It's been gradual issues. The sales rep has been hard to get a hold of from time to time. And obviously giving misleading information is certainly not helpful either. So we're working through that issue as well, in addition to trying to tackle fixing the park, so we can just get the surface installed, so.
Okay.
And my question was, is there anyone on staff who's expressed an interest in taking on that inspection training?
There have been a few, so now it's just evaluating who would be best served to do that.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Jim does yellow and green playgrounds.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I do have a question for you, though. Months ago, we talked about the vandalism problem we had in the restrooms, and I think changing from porcelain to metal. How are we doing with that? Or-
we're still in pursuit of that as well, because it's fairly expensive for the stainless steel. We are currently remodeling the Cape Hollow restroom, and we have looked at the stainless steel. And I think just that stainless steel toilet was like 3,600 or something like that. So we're trying to make it all work and see what we can do.
On the Cape Hollow one, are you working towards accessibility with that or?
We are, and we'll have an adult changing station as well.
Okay, cool.
We're working with Wheels on that, correct?
Correct.
Partnership with Wheels.
Yep.
Anything else? Anything else, Enrico?
Thank you.
Evening, Mayor, Council, just a quick update, we did move to Mostwin, Missouri interoperable system for our radios there 2 weeks ago, I believe. They appear to be working pretty well. At first, we heard a little bit of grumbling from officers, but it was them trying to figure out the radios, so right now, it really appears that is gonna be the way to go. And then the state's also looking at putting an antenna up here in town on a cell phone tower, so that should really improve our service as well. So very clear and pretty pleased with going that route so far. We do have 5 in our hiring process right now. One has experience. If he makes it through all the background and psychological, then he might be able to go straight to work, get through the training portion of our work. But the other 4, they'll be waiting. 2 in the academy now, and 2 would be signing up in July for the academy. So that's kind of where we're at on staff. Any questions? Thank you.
Chris, anything else? Barb? Marcy? You have nothing to say? You got anything else?
All I have is evening.
Okay, Marcella?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The finance report includes your budget reports that shows right now revenues are exceeding expenditures, but you've heard several comments tonight on where we're going to spend that money down. We're in the beginning of construction season, so that money will start to be spent, so sales tax money is coming in nicely. Thanks from staff for the bad debt write-offs. That task is complete. And we've implemented the phone transfer to do the phone service payments. That has helped reduce the number of phone calls that staff has been fronting and the time that front staff spends trying to collect those credit card payments over the phone. So that's been very beneficial. And Mr. Lockerbrink has submitted his resignation, and he is going to be retiring in June. He's asked to not do a celebration, which is kind of disheartening because he's spent so many years here. But if you have an opportunity to speak to him, I know that you have good words for him. So he'll appreciate that, I'm sure, but we'll honor his requests and keep things pretty quiet, even though I've heard others say, I don't want to do that. And so going forward, working on audit. And the 1st of March also kicks off the beginning of the new budget season. So we'll be doing some of that as we start to develop the 24 budget as well. So it'll be
Coming up around the corner.
yeah. Fun. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that as far as the data that's in the report, for sure.
Nope, doesn't look like it. Okay, then that'll be that, and we have a closed session. Vote to close part of this meeting pursuant to section 610.021 of the revised statutes of Missouri relating to legal actions, causes of action, or litigation involving a public governmental body and any confidential or privileged communications between a public governmental body or its representatives and its attorneys. Vote.
Do we need a motion?
Motion,
Okay,
correct.
thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
Move to approve that motion.
Osborne,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Euler,
Yes.
Kuchner.
Yes.